My name is Caleb Ortiz. I am 30, the oldest grandchild, the first in our family to go past a bachelor's, the person who remembers Wi-Fi passwords and brings folding chairs from the garage. I am the cousin who fixes printer jams during parties, the nephew who checks the brakes on Aunt Linda's SU5, the one who gets tagged whenever a new appears on someone's phone. I rent a clean one-bedroom above a barber shop. I drive a silver Civic with 118,000 miles and a dent you can only see at sunset. I write code, save receipts, and put my leftovers in labeled containers because I like knowing what something is. I grew up in a noisy house where love sounded like, "Did you eat?" and stress sounded like, "We will figure it out." Money was a family group project we never finished. Nobody talked about interest rates, they talked about favors. When I got a partial scholarship for my undergrad, everyone said I was set for life. When I got into a master's program, they said, "Don't forget where you came from." I did not. I tried not to. The day I graduated with my Master of Science, the campus was full of caps and camera flashes. Our family arrived like a parade. Mom, dad, cousins, 2 aunts, an uncle who thinks every conversation is a debate, and grandpa with his cane tapping out a tempo on the pavement. They carried signs that said, "That's our Caleb and student loans." Who? My cousin Marco's idea because he likes a joke even when it is not true. We took photos in front of the engineering building. The brick looked warmer through my mother's tears. Grandpa tapped my shoulder and said, "Proud of you, Mojo Joe." I felt that sentence in my chest like a clean breath. We moved to the reception hall for cake and speeches, plastic forks, sheet cake, coffee, and cardboard dispensers with levers that stick. The dean said a few things about innovation and responsibility. People clapped. My friends hugged their parents. The room had that thin layer of joy you only get when everyone is tired and happy at the same time. Aunt Linda arrived late, sunglasses on indoors like she was hiding from the weather. She hugged me and whispered, "Finally." Then she took one step back, looked at my tassel, and laughed, the kind of laugh that lands like a flick to your ear. "You are not even a real engineer," she said loud enough that the people at the punch bowl flinched. "It is computers. It is pretend. Real engineers build bridges." A few relatives laughed with her because laughing along is easier than not. My dad looked at his shoes. My mom's smile went thin. I smiled too because that is a reflex I learned at family parties. "Okay," I said and took a slow sip of coffee. My hands did not shake, so I knew I was not going to cry. "We can talk about what is real later." She waved a hand. "Oh, do not be sensitive. I am kidding. Besides," she leaned in, voice sweet, "you owe me a speech for all I have done for your career." "What have you done?" I asked calm. She winked like we were in on a joke. "We will chat at dinner." On the other side of the room, my cousin Leo, her son, was taking selfies with the mascot. He wore a designer hoodie I recognized from the credit card ad that kept following me around online. Leo saw me looking and held up his phone like a trophy. "Influence," he said. "It is my job." We cut the cake. People talked over each other. Uncle Rob turned a toast into a TED talk. Aunt Linda kept circling back to me with tiny jabs. "So now that you are done, you can help out more, right? Do not forget family. Your degree is for the team." Each jab landed on the same spot I had been trying to keep clean. The first trigger line had happened. Not a real engineer, but the real trigger was the way the room arranged itself around it, the little laughs, the silence from people who knew me better, the tiny permission that insult gave to a kind of taking I already understood. I kept my cap on, partly because it felt like armor, partly because I wanted to hear the tassel brush my ear when I turned my head. It reminded me I had finished something that belonged to me. I looked around. My friends were pulling their families into pictures that looked like magazine ads for happiness. My family looked like a board meeting where someone forgot the agenda. I told myself, "Not today, Caleb. Eat cake, nod, go home, celebrate quietly." But the sentence would not stop tapping. "Not a real engineer." I could hear what she meant under it. "You do not get to call the shots. You are the helper. Your success is community property." "Dinner in an hour at El Mar," Mom whispered soft as a prayer. "Please come." "I will be there," I said. I meant it. I was still the kid who shows up even when the room makes it hard to breathe. I put the program in my pocket next to the note I had scribbled that morning. "Take photos. Calabella, do not argue." I added a 4th line in my head. "Remember who you are." I did not become the dependable one because I love being needed. I became it because I hate watching things fall apart. I am the oldest, the organizer, the spreadsheet guy. I can make a plan for anything. How to get 8 people from a church to a restaurant in 2 cars. how to rebuild a laptop from parts, how to pay off a balance in 6 months if nothing else blows up. Our family's unofficial motto, we will figure it out. Our unofficial rhythm. Figure it out means Caleb will figure it out. I used to think that was an honor, then I realized it was a habit they never had to break. Aunt Linda learned that habit early. She is my mom's younger sister by 3 years and the loudest person in any room. She calls herself frugal and calls other people cheap. She says, the universe provides and sends me her Zelle handle. When her son Leo got into a state university 2 years ago, she put his acceptance letter on the fridge and said, we are so blessed. When they saw the cost after age, she said, we are so stressed. The night before Leo's first tuition was due, she called me. We are short, she said like it was weather. Just this once, sweetie. He got a small scholarship and Rob's hours got cut. You know how it is? I did. I also knew Leo had posted a story that morning from a concert in a different city. How much, I asked. She named a number that made my shoulders tighten. I will send what I can, I said, because that is a sentence I can say with my eyes closed. I did not tell anyone. I do not like watching people fight about money. I wired the cash and told myself it was a one-time kindness. It was not one time. Tuition is a season, not a moment. Books cost money. Meal plans cost money. Emergencies cost money on the exact days they were. Also, somehow treat yourself days on Instagram. Each time the ask came, it had a new outfit. We will pay you back when taxes hit. We will pay you back when Rob's overtime starts again. We will pay you back when the scholarship clears. We will pay you back when the landlord stops being a jerk. I set up a simple Google sheet titled Family Loans because naming things helps me breathe. I put Leo's tuition on its own tab. I logged each transfer, $2,000 here, $1,200 there, $480 for lab fees, $175 for book codes. I made notes to protect my brain. He will pay me back. It will even out. It did not even out. After 1 year, the total sat at $17,860. After 2, $36,420. By the third fall, it hit $48,000, an amount that made my stomach feel like a tight fist even when I was not thinking about it. I stopped writing, he will pay me back. I wrote, do not forget this happened. There were other leaks. My brother Mateo needed a root canal, $1,930 on my card, because he just started a job and his insurance did not kick in. My parents' car needed tires. Dad insisted he had a guy, then sent me a photo of the bald rubber. I bought the tires anyway. I added the family phone plan when Mom's was about to be shut off for the 3rd time. I paid for my grandma's meds twice because the pharmacy would not release them without cash, and we will figure it out. It did not work on pharmacists. Every yes carved a groove. People learned grooves. They toss the ball where they know a catcher stance. When I tried to step out of position, they threw the ball anyway and looked offended when it hit the ground. You might ask why I did not say no sooner. I asked that in the mirror a lot. The answer I finally liked was simple. I thought love was a resource I handed out until I was empty. Then I could rest. The real answer was messier. I liked the way being needed arranged the room. It put me at the center. It made me important. It made the noise in my head go quiet. And then the bill arrived, and the noise got louder. Aunt Linda made me feel small and big in the same week. She could call me a genius and a clown in one breath. You are so good with money, she would say when she needed a transfer. You act like a banker, she would say when I asked about a plan. She told people I was blessed as if I had been born into a savings account and not into the same house where Dad kept cash in an envelope behind the rice and Mom stretched ground beef with breadcrumbs like magic. The family group chat fam turned into a stream of soft emergencies. Who has a Costco card? How do I cancel a subscription? Caleb, what is the cheapest health insurance? Caleb, my laptop says disk error. What do I do? Caleb, do you know any landlords? I answered so often that when I did not, someone would text like a timer had gone off. Leo texted sometimes too, always breezy. UNC, you the best, he would say after a transfer, like flattery was an installment. He called me UNC even though I am his cousin because he thinks it sounds cooler. He promised me invited seats at an imaginary graduation he had never wanted to attend. I asked twice gently for a plan. Can Leo get more hours? Can he do 2 semesters at the community college? Aunt Linda would reply with a story about a counselor who discouraged him, or a professor who had it out for him, or a landlord who hates success. She always found a villain who was not her. She always found a hero who was me. She always said, "We will make it right." By the time my own tuition bills arrived for the master's program, I realized I had built a weird, shaky bridge where I stood in the middle holding two families up with my hands. I took extra freelance gigs at night to cover my own classes because I did not want to stop Leo's train. I was not a hero. I was tired. I told no one because shame is quiet. I promised myself I would finish my degree and then clean the mess. Once I graduate, I will set boundaries. I said, I will do it politely. I will do it with charts. I pictured a family meeting with muffins and grace. And suddenly, everyone would understand interest rates like a parable. If you have met families, you know that is not how it goes. The week before graduation, Aunt Linda called with a new flavor of the same request. "We are short for Leo's rent," she said. He had to buy an art history book that was $50, $50 for art. In the background, I heard someone laughing. I said, "I cannot." She paused like a computer buffering. "Excuse me," I said. "I cannot. I have my own bills this week." She went very quiet, then very bright. "Of course, honey," she said. "You do you." She hung up. I knew that tone. It is the tone she uses right before she tells everyone, "I have changed." Which brings us back to the reception and that laugh and that sentence. Not a real engineer. The minute it left her mouth, I could see how the dinner was going to go. I could see who would take which side of the table. I could hear the lines they would rehearse. I could feel my own hands finally finding the edge of a rope I had been gripping for too long. So, I ate cake. I smiled at cameras. I packed the degree cover into a tote bag like it was a fragile plate, and I told myself I would practice saying one word into the bathroom mirror until my mouth believed it. No. Elmar is the kind of place with laminated menus and salsa that taste different each visit. We squeezed into two tables. They pushed together. Chips appeared. The waitress called everyone hun like a spell. My mortarboard sat in the empty chair next to me like a polite ghost. Aunt Linda took the seat across from me and immediately started directing traffic. "Rob water. Leo napkins. Caleb, tell us what you are going to build that is real." She laughed at her own joke. "People chuckled the way you do when you are waiting for the food and want to keep the room from wobbling." I kept my voice even. "Software runs bridges now," I said. "But okay," she waved me off. "We are proud. We are now about family." There it was. The door to the old room I had lived in for too long. I could feel the hinges creak. "I am always about family," I said. "What do you need?" She smiled. "Sweet as cake icing. Nothing big, just what we talked about. Rent and tuition. You know the drill." Right then, the waitress appeared with a sizzling plate that sounded like a rescue helicopter. She set it down and smiled at me like she knew I was in a movie I had seen before. When she left, I put both hands on the table so I would not fold them into a prayer. "I cannot do that anymore," I said. Aunt Linda blinked. "Can't or won't?" "Won't," I said. The word sat in the middle of the table like a new condiment nobody had tried. "I will not pay Leo's bills anymore." Leo looked up from his phone. "Huh?" "Not mad," I said. "Just done." Aunt Linda laughed, but it did not sound like a laugh. "You are not serious." "I am very serious." I pulled my tote bag up and set a plain folder on the table. Inside were printouts from my bank, dates and amounts, a simple list titled, "Transfers to L. Ortiz/Alinda." I did not slam it down. I slid it like homework. I was not embarrassed to show. "This is $48,000 over 3 years," I said. "Tuition, rent, fees, emergencies." I tracked it because that is who I am. Her face changed shapes. "What, $48,000? She said, voice too light. "He got a scholarship." I nodded. "That is what you told the family." It was not true. The table went quiet except for the pan still hissing. My mother closed her eyes like a person bracing for a wave. Dad coughed. Uncle Rob said, "Let us not do accounting at dinner," in the exact tone of a man who likes numbers when they make him look good. Aunt Linda pushed the folder away with 2 fingers like it was hot. "This is rude. What is rude is calling my degree pretend and then pretending my money was not real," I said. My voice did not go loud. It did not have to. "I am not asking you to pay it back tonight. I am telling you I will not send another dollar. I am not your bank." Leo's eyes were moving fast behind his lashes like he was scrolling in his head. I thought. He started and stopped. He looked at his mother. "I told you I did not want to take his money. You said it was a scholarship. From a foundation." Aunt Linda snapped. "Leo." He looked at me, cheeks blotching. "I am sorry," he said, and I could tell he meant it. And also that he did not know what to do with meaning something. Mom opened her eyes and whispered. "Caleb, I am okay," I said. "I am not angry. I am done." Aunt Linda switched to a different tool. "What about family?" she said. "After all we have done for you, who let you stay in our living room when your dorm closed? Who drove you to interviews? You did, I said, and I thank you. And I cooked dinner for a month and I replaced your brake pads. And none of that is currency. It is kindness. It does not buy you my future. She leaned in. You think that degree makes you better than us? No, I said, it makes me better for me, and it gives me the right to decide what I build with my time and money. Uncle Rob tried diplomacy like he was applying ointment to a burn. Maybe we can set up a repayment plan, he said to the heir, as if a plan would fix a principle. $50 a month. I shook my head. This is not about a plan, it is about a pattern. Aunt Linda pointed at my folder. You kept score. I kept records, I said. Scorekeeping is when you throw it in someone's face to win a fight. Record-keeping is when you refuse to be gaslit. Someone at the far table cleared their throat. The waitress appeared again, eyes kind. We okay here? She asked. We are good, I said. Thank you. Aunt Linda stood up a little in her chair. So, you are announcing at your own graduation that you are abandoning family? I am announcing that I am not a funding model, I said. I am going to pay my loans, save for my life, and help when I choose, not when I am coerced. She made a sound that started as a laugh and turned into something else. You will regret this. I looked at Leo. You can call me for advice. You can send me your budget. I will help you think. I will not pay your rent. He nodded small. Okay. Dad finally spoke. Can we eat? He said, voice flat. It was the closest thing to a ceasefire we were going to get. We ate. It tasted like food you chew carefully so you do not bite your tongue. When the check came, I paid for my plate and Mom's. Aunt Linda waited like I was going to reach for everyone's. I did not. She put her card down last, sighing loud enough for the next table to hear. On the walk out, she said in my ear, not a real engineer. Not a real man, I said. Real enough to stop. The group chat lit up before my Uber pulled away from the curb. Wow. Aunt Linda wrote to the whole family. Caleb humiliated me at his own celebration. She followed it with a novella about ingratitude. Uncle Rob added a thumbs down emoji like he was voting. Mom texted me privately. I am proud of you. Are you safe? I wrote back, yes, home soon. At my apartment, I took off the cap and gown and hung them on the closet door like a flag I was not ready to fold. I made tea. I opened my laptop. I looked at the tab I had avoided for months. My spreadsheet. I created a new sheet. Boundaries to do. I typed simple things. Remove myself from the family phone plan. Cancel the extra Netflix profiles. Change the password on my cloud account Leo used for projects. Set up a separate email filter for Aunt Linda so I can read her messages when I have the energy. I did not do all of it that night. I did one thing. I turned off autopay for the Zelle payments I'd scheduled like an addict rationing his dose. The quiet, after that click, was the first clean quiet I had heard in 1 year. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm and went for a walk. The way you do when your body thinks it has to run from something and you tell it, no, we stroll. I passed the bakery that opens at 6 a.m. The guy who always wears headphones nodded like we share a secret. I thought, this is my life. Not a holding area, not a lobby, a place with mornings that are mine. At 9:12 a.m., Aunt Linda called. I let it ring out. She texted a paragraph so long it showed up as 3 bubbles. We need you to come over, she wrote. Family meeting 2 p.m. I answered, I will not be there. We can talk next week, just us 3. You, Leo, me. No, Rob. She responded, wow, controlling. Classic. Leo texted separately. Can we talk? I said yes. He came by at noon in the same hoodie from the party. He did not take it off. He sat on my couch like a student in the principal's office. I did not know it was that much, he said. I knew it was money, but not that. I should not have kept paying without a plan, I said, that trained everyone wrong, including me. He looked at his hands. Mom said you are rich. I am not, I said. I am careful and careful people look rich to people who are not. He nodded like I had said something he could work with. Will you show me how to budget? Yes, I said, but I will not build it for you. We sat at my table with coffee and a simple template. I wrote headings with a Sharpie on notebook paper. Income, basics, debt, fun, sinking funds. Name your dollars before the month starts, I said. If you do not, the month will do it for you. He laughed once, then did not. We found $60 a week he could shave without starving. He looked shocked, like a magician had pulled a rabbit out of his bank app. It is boring, he said. Boring is rich, I said. He left with homework. Cancel 1 subscription. Call the bursar. Find a part-time shift. He said, thanks, UNCC, and I did not correct him. That afternoon, Aunt Linda posted on Facebook about betrayal. She did not use my name, but my inbox lit up anyway because our family does not know the difference between subtweeting and subtitling. A cousin in another state wrote, "You good?" I replied with a screenshot of my own note app, "I am not a bank." He replied with the okay hand, then sent me a photo of his dog for no reason. It helped more than he knew. On Monday, I started my new job. Orientation badge photo. A tour of a room where a robot arm picks things out of bins. "Not a real engineer," I muttered, and the robot arm waved like it was in on the joke. My manager, Priya, asked about my capstone. I told her the truth. I built something small that works. "Perfect," she said. "We ship small things that work." I felt something uncoil inside me that was not pride exactly. It was permission to focus on what is mine. The week after, I made a therapy appointment and kept it. I spoke the numbers out loud for the first time to a stranger who wrote nothing down. She did not flinch. "You were trying to be good," she said. "You taught them how to spend you. Now you will teach them how to live without spending you." Meanwhile, the family weather changed. Mom called every night for 1 week just to hear your voice. Dad sent a text with a photo of the oil change sticker, and he wrote, "Progress comes in dumb little gifts like that." Grandpa left a voicemail that was mostly cane taps. And then, "Proud of you, Mojo." Aunt Linda escalated as predicted. She sent a group text. "We will not be attending Caleb's fake graduation party next month." I had not planned a party, but it was nice to know it would be boycotted. She told my mother I was showing off because I bought a new coffee table from IKEA. She texted me, "Hope you enjoy your fancy life." While Leo drops out, I did not respond. Silence is a screwdriver. It fixes more than you think. 3 small things happened that made the quiet feel real. I returned the spare key to Aunt Linda's house I had been holding just in case. She looked at it like I had handed her a verdict. "Who will feed the cat when we travel?" she asked. "Hire a sitter," I said. She scoffed. "Waste of money." I smiled. "Then do not travel." I took Mateo car shopping and did not co-sign. Even when the salesman looked past him at me like a father and said, "You want to help your brother out?" I said, "I am by not lying to his future." Mateo laughed so loud the salesman blinked. I set up a separate savings account called Boring Joy. I put $50 in it. I bought a decent pair of running shoes and did not apologize. My feet stopped hurting on walks. 1 week later, Aunt Linda cornered me at church in the parking lot. "You made Leo cry," she said. "He is under so much pressure." "Good," I said. "Pressure builds muscle." She made a face like I had spoken Greek. "We are family," she said, pointing at the ground like the word lived under our shoes. "You do not get to opt out." "I am not opting out of family," I said. "I am opting out of financing." She stepped closer. "Pay the next month and we will talk." "No," I said. The word came out easier now. "Ask me for advice. I will give it. Ask me for money. I will say no." She stared like she was waiting for a joke to finish. When it did not, she clicked her tongue, walked away, and posted a photo of a sunset with a caption about snakes and gardens. I liked the photo because it really was a good sunset. The call slowed, the text softened, not because I won, because everyone finally understood I was not moving back to the old room. Sometimes the only way to change a choreography is to stop dancing. One night, Leo called. "I got a job at the campus IT desk." He said, "It is boring." "Good," I said. "Boring is rich." He laughed. I used that line in an interview. He said they thought it was deep. I wrote a new line on my boundaries to-do list. "Start living like you are not on call." I put my phone in the kitchen at night. I slept. I woke up to a world that did not need me at 2 a.m., and I did not feel useless. I felt okay. Looking back on it all, I feel a strange mix of relief and quiet sorrow, like finally exhaling after holding my breath for years. At 30, I thought success would feel louder. Fireworks maybe, or at least a clear victory lap. Instead, it feels like stepping out of a crowded room into the cool night air, where everything is suddenly sharper and mine alone. I'm proud of what I built. The degree, the job, the boundaries I drew with steady hands that night at Elmar. That folder on the table wasn't revenge, it was evidence that I mattered enough to protect. When Aunt Linda laughed and called my work pretend, she wasn't just dismissing software engineering. She was trying to shrink me back into the role I'd outgrown. The reliable nephew, the family ATM, the one who fixes things so no one else has to. Saying no that night didn't make me cruel. It made me real. There's grief in it too. I miss the version of family where love didn't come with invoices, where pride didn't need to be negotiated. I mourn the years I spent believing that being needed was the same as being loved. I gave $48,000 in countless hours because I thought emptying myself would fill the gaps in everyone else. It didn't. It only taught them where to reach when they wanted more. But cutting off the money wasn't abandonment. It was the first honest thing I'd done for all of us in a long time. Leo's call about his new IT job, the small nod from my dad in the oil change photo, Mom's quiet "I'm proud of you." Those are the real repayments, slow and unasked for. Aunt Linda may never understand. And that's okay. Some people only see boundaries as betrayal. Now mornings are mine. My apartment is quiet in a way it never was before. I run in new shoes that don't pinch. I save for things that have my name on them alone. I still answer questions about Wi-Fi passwords and printer jams, but only when I choose to. Love, I've learned, isn't a resource you spend until you're bankrupt. It's a garden you tend without letting people trample through it whenever they're hungry. I'm not angry anymore. I'm free. And freedom, it turns out, feels like walking at sunrise with no one calling your name, knowing you'd answer if you wanted to. But for the first time, you don't have to.